Breathe in coal smoke and river mist. Hear the groan of ships along the Thames. This is 18th century London, elegant on the surface, volatile underneath. A city of 500,000 souls, reborn after fire, racing toward empire. Fortunes bloom and collapse in a day. Ideas ignite revolutions. Watch carefully. Transformation has begun. By the mid-1700s, London was Europe's largest city and the engine of a growing British Empire. Rebuilt after 1666, crowned by Wren's St. Paul's, it pulsed with trade, coffeehouse debate, and global ambition. Ships carried sugar, tea, textiles, and enslaved human lives. Finance expanded, so did risk. What happened here shaped the modern world. Now, step into 1720. Not a battlefield, but a fever dream. The South Sea Company promises wealth from trade with Spanish South America. Its stock price climbs beyond reason. Picture Change Alley packed shoulder to shoulder. Wigged gentlemen elbow seamstresses and servants clutching savings wrapped in cloth. Rumors ripple faster than the Thames tide. It will triple, someone whispers. Faces flush. Pens fly across parchment. Even Isaac Newton invests and loses. I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, he later admits, but not the madness of men. Absurd bubble companies bloom overnight. Schemes to extract gold from seawater, to trade in inventions unnamed. Investors subscribe blindly. Greed dulls skepticism. Then September. The fall is swift. Prices plummet. Silence replaces frenzy. Clerks stare at ledgers that no longer make sense. Credit evaporates. Merchants who breakfasted as wealthy men dine as paupers. Some ruined investors flee. Others walk toward the river at dusk, coats heavy, thoughts heavier. The Chancellor of the Exchequer is imprisoned in the Tower. Parliamentary inquiries rage. Public trust fractures for a generation. London learns its first modern lesson in speculative capitalism. Markets magnify hope and despair in equal measure. While investors nurse ruin, the poor seek escape. Walk with me into St. Giles. The air is sour, stale beer, rotting refuse, cheap spirits. Gin is everywhere, unregulated, potent, inexpensive. 1 in 4 houses in some districts sells it. A mother rocks a crying infant while lifting a tin cup to her lips. A child sleeps on stone steps. Hogarth's Gin Lane captures this despair. Skeletal figures, collapsing buildings, neglect etched into every face. Infant mortality rises. Petty theft becomes survival. Parish records swell with the names of the young and the destitute. Parliament responds with the Gin Acts. Taxes, licenses, restrictions. Crowds riot when prices increase. Informers are attacked in alleyways. Magistrates struggle to maintain order in streets that seem to dissolve into stupor. But gradually, painfully, reform works. Consumption declines. Children survive who would not have. The lesson deepens. Unchecked supply, whether shares or spirits, devours the vulnerable first. Pleasure gardens and street fairs, 1740s to 1760s. Yet London refuses to live in misery alone. At Vauxhall Gardens, lanterns glow like suspended stars. Silk rustles along gravel paths. Perfumed air mingles with roasted almonds and damp grass. Orchestras play beneath painted pavilions. Couples stroll into shadowed groves where candlelight cannot follow. For a few shillings, clerks dine beside courtesans. merchants beside minor nobles. Social lines blur beneath colored light. Laughter spills into the warm night. Now contrast Bartholomew Fair. Drums thunder. Hawkers shout until voices crack. The scent of sweat, mud, and animals hangs thick. Acrobats tumble overhead. Puppeteers mock politicians to roaring crowds. Pickpockets glide through chaos with expert hands. These spectacles, refined or riotous, feed a city addicted to sensation. London consumes entertainment as hungrily as it consumes trade. And in both gardens and fairgrounds, the same truth holds. Londoners crave escape, beauty, and the thrill of something just beyond their grasp. Stand near where Tower Bridge will someday rise. The Thames is not tranquil, it is muscular. Barges grind against one another. Sailors curse in Dutch, Portuguese, English. Tar, salt, and sewage blend into a single briny breath. Above it all rises St. Paul's Dome, serene and mathematical. To the right, the monument pierces the sky. 202 feet commemorating catastrophe. Memory carved in stone. Old London Bridge still groans under houses and shops. Medieval stubbornness amid Georgian ambition. Fishwives lean from upper windows. Below, the current drags at ancient timber piers. Every mast signals commerce. Sugar from the Caribbean, tea from Asia, timber from the Baltic. Wealth flows inward, influence radiates outward. This river is London's bloodstream, and sometimes its wound. Climb One Tree Hill. Wind snaps at your coat. Below, the Queen's House rests in measured symmetry. Beyond it stretch the colonnades of Greenwich Hospital, completed in 1751 to house retired naval seamen. Britain honours those who secured her seas. These buildings proclaim dominance. Britain commands oceans, and oceans command trade. From here you watch ships approach the capital. Each sail on the horizon carries cargo, news, or threat. Fashionably dressed visitors gather on this hill to survey what they consider England's finest prospect, and they are not wrong. Greenwich will one day anchor the prime meridian itself. Time, navigation, empire, all converge here. Enter Leicester Square. Gravel crunches under carriage wheels. Leicester House dominates the centre. William Hogarth resides nearby, sketching satire from observation. Corruption, vanity, folly rendered in ink sharp enough to wound reputations. Across the square, Sir Joshua Reynolds paints portraits that immortalize power in oil and gold leaf. Two artists, two visions of the same society. Artists gather where wealth congregates. Patronage fuels genius, and genius, in turn, shapes how an age remembers itself. An equestrian statue of George I stands at the centre, symbolic authority cast in bronze. What was farmland becomes fashionable address. London reinvents land into prestige with astonishing speed. Across the river stands the Tower, unyielding. The White Tower, begun in 1078 by William the Conqueror, anchors centuries of authority. Palace, prison, armory, mint. Crown jewels glitter behind guarded walls. Ravens pace the inner ward as they have for generations. At Traitor's Gate, imagine the scrape of oars on dark water. Prisoners step from barges into stone corridors damp with river chill. Few enter without fear. Fewer leave unchanged. The Tower watches commerce surge past it daily. medieval fortress beside modern trade. Continuity amid relentless change. A reminder that power, however refined, ultimately rests on stone and force. Now into the Royal Exchange courtyard. The bell rings. Trade begins. Voices overlap in multiple languages. Hands gesture urgently. Bills of exchange pass from merchant to merchant. Quills scratch. Wax seals press warm into parchment. The smell of ink and ambition fills the air. Founded in 1565 by Sir Thomas Gresham, modelled on Antwerp's Bourse, this building formalizes risk. It gives commerce a stage, a rhythm, a set of rules. By the late 18th century, Lloyd's insurers operate here, calculating odds for ships crossing unpredictable seas. A captain's fate, and his cargoes, decided by men with ledgers and probability. Within these arcades, commerce becomes system. Probability becomes profit. London evolves from trading port to financial superpower, and the world will never be organized the same way again. In St. James's Square, aristocracy crystallizes. Developed in the 1660s and refined in the 1720s by Charles Bridgeman, the square now centers on a 150-foot basin surrounded by obelisks and iron railings. Order imposed on mud. Dukes and ministers compete for residence. Decisions shaping the empire unfold in drawing rooms scented with wax and perfume. Footmen stand at polished doors. Carriages queue along the ironwork. Behind elegance, ambition sharpens quietly. The most consequential conversations in Britain happen here, not in Parliament, but over candle-lit suppers. Before dawn at Covent Garden, carts rumble across cobbles. Farmers unload apples, cabbages, flowers still wet with dew. The air smells of earth and oyster brine. Costermongers shout prices as sunlight creeps between Inigo Jones's arcades. By sunrise, the piazza is a living mosaic of colour and sound. Pyramids of produce, baskets of blooms, the clatter of commerce at full pitch. At night, theatres flare with candlelight. Taverns overflow with actors, writers, and those who simply wish to be near brilliance. Here, sustenance and spectacle coexist. High society and street life collide without apology. Covent Garden does not choose between the refined and the raw. It demands both simultaneously. Walk Cheapside, derived from the Old English cheap, marketplace. St. Mary Le Beau's steeple rises above the din. Its bells define identity. Born within their sound, you are a Cockney. Sound itself becomes heritage. Shop fronts glitter with silks, jewels, spices from every corner of the empire. Apprentices shout, customers haggle, coin clinks against counter. The smell of fresh bread drifts from a bakery wedged between a jeweler and a bookseller. This avenue is both commercial artery and cultural spine. Oxford Street and Wall Street fused centuries early. Every purchase here ripples outward through imperial networks. Every transaction, a small act of empire. And then, June 1780. Protest ignites against Catholic relief laws. Within hours, London convulses. Tens of thousands flood the streets. Chapels burn. Newgate Prison erupts in flame. Inmates scatter into smoke. The Bank of England braces for siege. Troops fire. Bayonets flash in orange light. Nearly 300 die before order returns. Elegance proves fragile. And as flames climb higher, the roar of the mob rises toward